and you're going to have heavy, choppy seas. Now, I don't know if this camera was on or not. I thought I turned it on. But meanwhile, the next thing you know, we're back at the dock. We're back, tied up, enjoying ourselves. And we hear a call come across that there's a sailboat in New Haven Harbor behind the break wall. New Haven Harbor. All right, again, that's in Connecticut. Behind the break walls, there's 3 break walls there. And actually, it's not that far from the Coast Guard station. If she had a power boat, she would probably be able to get to sector in 3 or 4 minutes. And the sailboat, in the conditions that it was in, it would have taken her an hour. But, I mean, she couldn't go there and tie up anyway, really. I mean, you know, they would have helped her and towed her and tucked her in someplace, but they're not going to let her stay there. They haven't the facility for it. So she calls up, and next thing you know, the 41 goes out. They call it the 73. And the guests were getting seasick. They were turning gray. So at that point, they said to her, you know, you and the little pup want to come. You know, no, you're okay. Your boat's fine here, right? She stayed on it. Yeah, that's all there is to it. But the guest had to get off. So here it is, you know, a stupidity, basically. Why? You know, you should have just stayed where you were. You know, if the guest had to get home, at least where you were only a few hundred yards from the land, you know, a few hundred yards from the island. And the guests could have taken a cab home, for crying out loud. But then again, we're talking sailboaters, so they're not going to want to spend money for a cab. So, all right, anyway, but to rig a sailboat, I mean, a friend of mine worked at West Marine with me. She was the assistant manager for a while. She had to have her boat rigged. I forgot what she had to have done. But it was at the marina for 2 days, and they worked on it for about 7 hours within the 2 days, and she got a bill for over $3,000. You know, I mean, come on. You know, it's not that cheap if you're going to have a decent-sized sailboat. All right, pay for the gas, for crying out loud. That's it. You know, you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about your lines, your pulleys, you know, your sails, you know, the conditions. You know. So, I mean, the conditions, yes, but I always felt that a power boat will take more than a sailboat, size for size, you know. All right, I'll be back. Pay one of the marinas to grab one of their balls. Mooring. Guys. All right. And then they'll send out a little water taxi, pick you up, bring you into town, which is right there, and you do what you want to do throughout the town, enjoy yourself, spend 2-3 hours, go back, they bring you back out to your boat. If you want to stay the night, you can. You just tell them you're staying the night, you give them a few more bucks, or you untie from the ball and you head home. You can't do that with a sailboat. For a sailboat to go to to Port Jeff from where we are in Brantford, that's an all-day trip. That's just to get there. And most of the time, they'll pull a tender with them, a little dinghy, and they'll anchor out. If you look at Port Jeff on the map, it's got a little opening, you go in, and then it opens up after that. And there's beaches and moorings on both sides. Some moorings and anchorage is private, and then there's some you just drop your anchor and do what you want to do. And Then if you jump on your little tender, depending on what motor you have on it, it can take anywhere from 5 minutes to 15 minutes to get from that little opening to the actual dock or the town. The town is right there on the water. That's Port Jeff in Long Island. So, and a lot of times they'll even bring their tender so they can tie up, so they don't have to pay $9 for the ball for the day. Well, see, the thing is, they're in no hurry because they're not going to be able to make it back. They're there for the weekend anyway. So they figure, you know what? I'm here for the weekend. I might as well bring the tender with me so I don't have to worry about it. Because they know they're not coming back until the next day. And that's if the weather permits. You know, sailboats are really weather dependent. You know how many times we've gone out and rescued sailboaters. Now you think, oh, sailboaters, the more wind the better. No, not the case. Not the case. Not at all. We had a sailboat, and actually I knew the owner of the boat. She's a nurse, and every winter she would take her boat from Brantford down to the Bahamas and fly back, and then she'd fly down there for the winter and stay on her boat down there. And then in the spring, she'd bring it back up to Connecticut. But one day she was over in Milford, Connecticut, in the so-called Milford Harbor, tucked in behind Charles Island. And she's got some guests with her. She had a couple of guests with her, herself and her little dog, little white poodle. Cute little guy. She used to keep a couple little grass mats so that the little fella can go out there and go poop, you know, and then, you know, naturally she's in the water, so she would just rinse it off in the water and it's not a big deal. But what a cute little guy. He really was. Toby. Was it Toby? I don't remember now. But anyway, I was over there with my sons and grandsons and grandkids, and naturally my wife, because we went over there to tie up and have dinner. And as I'm coming out, I see Tina, her name was, Tina Rose. I seen her boat there, and she called her boat Umbarumba. I don't remember what it stood for. But meanwhile,